What is going on, guys? Alex here, and today we have a special video. Today we got some story time because today I'm gonna give you a little preview to my Avengers Hydra war. As some of you know, this is something very ambitious I'm working on. I'm still not exactly sure how the story gonna come together as far as how it's gonna see the light of day, because right now it's in trailer form. But I have the idea of basically turning this into maybe a short film and a short animated film, or maybe a short animated series. I actually do talk with some people about that, and I also maybe considering about turning this into a comic book. Who knows? Or there's the possibility of me just writing a book about it, because I always wanted to write a book. Maybe this is my chance to write a book about this story. So this video is some way to set up for a trailer gonna release, I think maybe tomorrow, maybe a few days later. A trailer where I'm gonna kind of show what I'm aiming for with the story. And this video is basically my chance to explain to you guys about the story and basically tell you what to expect, because I did try to explain the story in some way, but I do realize that in the trailer I'm a little confined to the footage I have and the dialogue I have, so I can't really go into detail as far as exactly what the story is. So the story starts with Quicksilver dying. I'm not gonna go too much into why he dies or how he dies, because it's not really important to the story. What's important is that he dies, and the Scarlet Witch loses control of her powers because she just goes crazy after her brother dies. And by doing so, she accidentally breaks the reality. She basically creates a whole new reality. Basically, she kind of erases the reality we all know and love and creates a whole new reality where bad things happen. And the only person that realizes that the reality has changed is Captain America. He was basically holding her, and because of that, their minds has transformed to this new reality. So Scarlet Witch we'll talk about more later, but she kind of went missing after the break of the reality. Captain America actually wakes up in the body of his other self in this new reality, and he realizes that in this reality he is known as Captain Hydra. And that's because in this reality Hydra rules the world. Hydra is an empire that took over most countries in the world, and Captain America in this version is known as Captain Hydra, and he actually helped Hydra take over the world. So before I go into characters, I think it's gonna be smart for me just to set up the world where everybody stands before I start going about the characters and actually explain how they changed, because I think that once you understand the entire world and the setting, it will be much easier to understand where every character stands. In this reality, by World War II, they already have computers, and actually one of the smartest people on the planet, and the person that actually was already inventing computers, actually using computers and using all kind of super advanced technology back in the 40s, is Howard Stark. Now in this reality, Howard Stark is actually the leader of Hydra. He's actually the man that controls everything. He is the mastermind, and he has created an artificial intelligence known as Ultron. Now back in World War II, Ultron is just a computer program. He doesn't have a body yet. Howard Stark decided to use the Nazis as a vehicle, as a device to take over the world. But he also realizes that the Allied forces will always stand in his way. So he decides to infiltrate the Allied forces, basically tell them, hey, I will help you guys to defeat the Nazis. What the Allied forces don't understand is that he basically putting Hydra agents all over the world to infiltrate every single cell, every single army, every single government. Basically, there are Hydra people everywhere. And beyond that, Howard Stark took Steve Rogers and turns him into a super soldier, the world's first super soldier. Now, after Hydra's infiltrated every single government in the world, one day Howard Stark tells everybody, today is the day we make our play. And so in one day, Hydra wipes out anyone who stands in their way, and Captain Hydra is basically almost becomes this Darth Vader type of figure where he just takes down people everywhere. And basically this kind of like Order 66 from Star Wars. Anyone who could stand in Hydra's way is eliminated. But Howard Stark never really wanted to rule the world in the light. He thinks that Hydra should exist in the shadows. So he lets the Nazis do their thing, basically rule the world and all that, all the shit they've done. And Hydra basically operates from the shadows and basically kind of controlling the world without the world actually knows about them. With Captain Hydra being the super soldier for Hydra and for the Nazis, and basically they slowly take over every country in the world except few of them. One of them is Wakanda, that still stands because they have their own technology and they basically serve as a great opposition to Hydra. We also have Russia that stands against Hydra, and basically they have this huge army that stands against Hydra and the Nazis. And we slowly have a resistance that is growing all over the world, mainly led by mutants, because Hydra is actually hunting down mutants because of their powers. And we'll talk about more about mutants and all that later. But then we had Tony Stark, Howard Stark's son, who at some point decided, you know what, I want Hydra to be an empire. So somehow, some way, Howard Stark dies. How did he die? I will let you figure it out. Because right after Howard Stark dies, the Nazis basically are shoved aside, and suddenly a Hydra empire rises with a new emperor, and this emperor is Tony Stark. Tony Stark has created himself an army of Iron Man suits, and he himself calls himself the Iron Hydra. And of course he has the green suit like you saw in the trailers, and he basically proclaims himself the emperor. Basically anyone who's standing in his way goes down, and he basically becomes this new Hitler in a way. In his mind, Hydra should rule the world, and they should not use the Nazis as a device to rule the world. He wants to rule the world by himself. He wants his face to be everywhere. He wants everybody to know that he is the emperor. He wants everybody to know about the Hydra Empire. And Captain Hydra is basically his right-hand man. Captain Hydra is right there helping him out to conquer the world. As I said before, the only countries that still stand are Wakanda and Russia. Now, Russia, unfortunately, in the present time, does not exist anymore. It's just a bunch of ruins. Why? Because the Iron Hydra decided, you know what, I don't like those Russians. I'm gonna use my newest weapon known as Hulk. Yes, in this version, Hulk is being under the control of Hydra, and he is being used as a weapon of mass destruction. Tony Stark sends the Hulk to Russia, and the Hulk just levels everything. He just destroys and kills anything in his path. And that's basically Tony Stark saying to the world, this is my power. Do you really think you can stand in my way with me having my technology and me having the Hulk? Who could stand in my way? The only nation in the world that still stands against Hydra is Wakanda, and they have this massive shield around their entire country. They basically have super advanced technology. So Wakanda for many years was a safe haven for anyone who was opposing Hydra, anyone who is a refugee from Hydra Empire. Basically, they could come to Wakanda and basically live a somewhat safe life. But a few years before the story starts, the king of Wakanda was assassinated. A refugee that came in was actually a Hydra agent, and that Hydra agent killed the king of Wakanda, and that basically caused the new king of Wakanda, the Black Panther, to take a drastic measure. Basically say, alright, we want to help people, but by helping people, we allowed refugees to our nation, and those refugees are actually, some of them are Hydra agents, so we're closing our gates. Wakanda is quarantined from the world. Alright, so now you can understand the setup of the world. Let's talk about the characters, because the characters is the thing that is most important about the story, and I think I'm the most excited about, because characters are the only important thing about every story, right? So let's start with Captain America. So like I said, Captain America wakes up in the body of his other self in this reality, which is Captain Hydra. Like I said, Captain Hydra is a very bad person in this reality. He is not a good person. He's kind of like a version of Darth Vader. He just kills and destroys and does everything that his masters tells him to do. So at first his master was Howard Stark, and now his master is Tony Stark, who basically tells him again, kill and do whatever I tell you to do, and he does that. Now Captain America wakes up in Captain Hydra's body, and now he has to figure out what the hell is going on, because he wakes up in the world that is pretty much his nightmare, because Hydra is taking over the world. All his friends, all the people he cares about are all changed on. A lot of them are dead. A lot of them are now bad guys. So he has to figure out what the hell is going on, because this is not his reality. So the first part of the story is him trying to figure out everything. The second part of the story is him figuring out that this is a different reality caused by Scarlet Witch. And he has to find Scarlet Witch because she is the only person that can fix everything. Now let's talk about the Emperor. Let's talk about Anthony, Tony Stark. Let's talk about the Iron Hydra. And he's not a good person at all. Like, he is evil. There is nothing good about him. There's nothing redeemable about him. Now, he believes that he's doing the world a favor because he believes that Hydra makes the world safer. And in his mind, that's what should happen. And that's why he does the thing he does. He's not evil because, hey, I'm gonna be a bad guy. No, he is evil because he believes that the only way to make the world a safer place is to do these horrible things. Because in his mind, the world needs Hydra. And the only way to maintain Hydra's control is to do some bad things. That's just how it is. Now let's talk about Black Widow. Now, Black Widow, as we all know, she is Russian in the story, and after Russia is destroyed by Hulk, she basically joins the resistance because she wants vengeance against Hydra. They send her to be a spy, so basically she becomes a double agent for the resistance, and she is a spy within Hydra. She basically gathers information about Hydra, and she pretends to be part of the Hydra, and she becomes, this spy on that for Hydra, even though she works for the resistance. And eventually in the story, she marries Captain Hydra because she believes the only way to get close to the leadership of Hydra is to be married to one of the most important people in Hydra, and that's of course Captain Hydra. After she tries to kill Captain Hydra, she realizes that this is Captain America from a different reality, and basically she kind of brings him in to the resistance and helps him kind of figure out everything. She basically his exposition device. Basically she tells him what happened in the world, and basically they have this relationship because they kind of married but not really, but she sees that this is a different person and they kind of fall in love and all that stuff. But eventually his access to the resistance and to the wider story because she's there playing the part. So this is the main three characters. Now for me not to get confused, not forget anyone, I'm gonna go by groups because it's going to be much easier for you guys to understand exactly who's who and who's where. So let's start with Hydra. So the next character when we talk about is Hulk. Now Bruce Banner is the Hulk, although in this reality Tony Stark basically forced him to create the Hulk, and unfortunately for Bruce Banner, he himself became the Hulk, and now he is being used as this weapon of mass destruction for Hydra against his own will, but he has no choice because they control him. Then we have Norman Osborn, who in this reality is somewhat the right-hand man for the Emperor, Tony Stark, and in this reality he also becomes a version of the Iron Patriot, even though he is known as the Patriot Hydra. Then we have Maria Hill. I know a lot of people say, whoa, she's part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not in this reality because S.H.I.E.L.D. does not exist in this reality. She is actually the leader of Hydra's version of S.H.I.E.L.D., which here I'm gonna need your help because I'm not sure exactly how to call this organization. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Tell me how I should call the S.H.I.E.L.D. version of Hydra or the CIA version of Hydra. Like, what is the organization that they should have that basically is their version of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Basically, this is the evil shield. So she is the director of this evil shield, and she also has a relationship with the Emperor, Tony Stark. She pretty much worships him because she believes in Hydra as well. You gotta understand that basically, if you live in a nation that basically has propaganda and basically have changed history and shaped history in their own image, a lot of people basically who grew up in that empire would believe in the empire. They would believe everything that the empire is selling. So she grew up in this empire. She believes in the empire. She has no reason to believe otherwise because she doesn't know anything else. And for many people in the Hydra Empire, they actually believe that Hydra even defeated the Nazis because they didn't knew about the Nazi and Hydra connection. So in their eyes, like, Hydra saved us. Hydra has saved the world. Hydra is what the world needs. They're good for the world because, again, it's all about mentality. It's all about perception. If your perception is that the bad guys are the good guys and the good guys are the bad guys, it's kind of hard changing the perception. So for her, she believes that Hydra is a good thing for the world. Now, when I talked about the setting, I was talking about Ultron. Basically, the fact that he was created by Howard Stark. So Ultron does play a very big role in the story. So Ultron decides to stay in the shadows and basically do his own thing. Now, at some point in the story, Ultron realizes that there's a possibility that this whole reality is not a real reality. That basically this reality was created, and he realizes that Scarlet Witch is out there, and she has the power to change reality. And once he understands that, for him it becomes a whole new ball game because he says to himself, if I can find Scarlet Witch and I can somehow, some way convince her to help me, I could create a whole new reality. Now, what type of reality he wants to create, that's part of the story, but think about what a machine like Ultron could do with the power of controlling and changing realities. Now let's go and talk about the Resistance. We already covered Black Widow, she's part of the Resistance. Let's talk about the leadership of the Resistance. So in this version, Magneto is the leader of the Resistance. The mutants are being hunted down by Hydra, and obviously Magneto, like in the comic books, is very protective of the mutants. A few years before the story takes place, there were a few factions. There was Magneto's faction, which was very aggressive, and they were very much like, we gonna take as many Hydra agents as possible. We're gonna fight Hydra to the death. And then there was the more peaceful faction, which was led by Professor X. But Professor X was killed by Iron Man. After that, basically all the different factions of the Resistance came together under one group, under Magneto, because now they say, alright, they killed the Professor X, so now we're all gonna come in together and we're gonna fight Hydra to the death. Then we have Wolverine. Now Wolverine in this reality is almost very similar to the way he is in the original reality, even though in this reality he never lost his memory, so he still has all his memories from his entire life. When our story starts, Wolverine is missing. Nobody really knows what happened to him. What happened to him, he was taken down by Hydra. He's not dead. He's been taken in this facility where Hydra is doing a bunch of his experiments on mutants. And basically, Wolverine is the holy grail. Basically, this is what Tony Stark wanted to get his hands on for a very long time. Why? Because Wolverine doesn't age, and he's pretty much immortal because he keeps healing. And that's what Tony Stark wants for himself, and that's what he wants for Hydra as all. If he is able to put that power of healing and basically not aging into himself and into his soldiers, Hydra will be everlasting. And when the story starts, he basically tries to figure out how to replicate Wolverine's power and basically use that to his own advantage. Now, Spider-Man, because everybody has been asking me questions about what's up with Spider-Man. Is he part of Hydra? Why does his suit is green? What's up with that? The story goes is that Peter Parker grew up in the Hydra Empire, so he's a Hydra citizen. And his entire life he grew up believing in Hydra. He believes in the Hydra Empire. He believes in what they're selling. And as a young man, he was brought up into a program by Hydra where they basically take teenagers and turn them to Power Rangers. No, I just can't. Not the Power Rangers. They basically give them superpowers. They basically turn them into these super soldiers with powers. And Peter Parker gets the Spider-Man powers. And he's known as the Hydra Spider. So he gets the suit, and that's why it's green. And at first he works for Hydra, but then he realizes that Hydra is very evil. Basically, everything he grew up on, believing in the Hydra heroes, believing in Captain Hydra, that the hero that saved the world, he basically realizes that all that's bullshit. Basically, Hydra has been selling them propaganda, and all that is not really true, that Hydra is really, really evil. And that's when he decides to join the Resistance. So that's why at first his suit is green, because that's his suit. Now, even after he joins the Resistance, he still believes in the idea of Hydra, because he's someone who grew up in this empire. So in many ways, it's impossible for him just to say, all right, now I'm F you, Hydra. I'm now going to be part of the Resistance. Hydra should fall. In his mind, Hydra could still be good because there are some good people within the Hydra Empire. Just because Tony Stark is evil doesn't mean that everybody is evil. So with Peter Parker, we have to understand there's more depth to it, because not everybody that is part of Hydra is evil. There are billions of people living within the Hydra Empire that believe in Hydra, but they're not bad people. They're just people that some of them just live in the Empire, some of them just follow orders. And with Spider-Man, we actually understand that there's more to the story, and it's not just good versus evil. There's the gray area where things are not that simple. So that is the Resistance, and that's Hydra. Now let's talk about the characters that don't really have a side. Now the first character I want to talk about, this is the character I'm actually excited about the most, is Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier. I decided that in this reality, Bucky and Steve Rogers were never actually good friends. Like they know about each other, but they never really were as close as they are in the original reality. They're like, hey, yeah, we fought in the same war and all that, but they're not really friends. Now, Bucky was a soldier for the Allied Forces, and actually he went through a similar process to become a super soldier like Captain Hydra. When Howard Stark and Hydra took over the world and basically eliminated everybody who stood in their way, Captain Hydra betrayed Bucky, injured him very badly. He lost his arm. The only reason why he survived was because he was saved by a Russian female soldier. Basically took him in, she took care of him, she helped him heal, and she basically took him to Russia, and they basically fell in love and had a family until Hydra has invaded Russia for the first time. That was long before the Hulk was born even. That was basically the first invasion of the Nazis and Hydra to Russia. And in the process, Bucky's family, the Russian soldier he fell in love with, his children, were all killed. And basically that was so devastating to him that basically he became a Nazi and Hydra hunter. Basically his entire existence now is to find Hydra officers, Hydra leaders, Hydra soldiers, and kill anyone that is part of Hydra. And if someone from the Resistance gets in his way, that's bad for the Resistance, because he is not part of the Resistance, he doesn't care about the Resistance. He just wants to kill every single Hydra person he can find and basically have his vengeance against Hydra. So now let's talk about the Black Panther. As I said before, Wakanda is kind of like the only nation in the world that still stands against Hydra. Now T'Challa is now the king of Wakanda after his father was assassinated by a Hydra agent who came into Wakanda as a refugee, but then he used the opportunity to kill a Black Panther's father. And Black Panther kind of went to a dark place after his father was killed, because he decided to close the gate to Wakanda. No more refugees, no more any more outsiders. The Wakanda people start treating the refugees that came in as outsiders. Basically, you're not really part of us. We allow you to live here, but remember that we're keeping an eye on you. Black Panther himself decided, you know what, the only way to take down Hydra is to create an army So he basically started taking children from the mothers and training them from a very young age. So basically, when they grow up, they will be the best soldiers ever. And basically, that's his plan. His plan is to create an army of thousands upon thousands of Wakanda soldiers that are all going to have vibranium armor, all of them going to have powers, and when they're ready, they're going to go out there and they're going to eliminate Hydra. Wakanda and Black Panther are the good guys. They're doing some bad stuff in order to achieve victory. And the last character I'm going to talk about, because I feel like this video is already going too long, it's War Machine, aka Rhodey Rhodes. So Rhodey in this version is part of Hydra, but not really. So he's a soldier for Hydra, I know, Air Force and all that, but he doesn't really agree with what Hydra stands for right now. He believes that Hydra should stand for different things. He believes that Hydra has lost its way, and Tony Stark has basically led Hydra to the wrong place. Basically, they should not be what they are now. Rhodey basically is able to create this group within Hydra that basically have the same ideals as he has. Basically, they plan to take down Hydra, take down the leadership of Hydra from the inside. So he's not really a good person, but his intentions are good. He still wants Hydra to rule the world. He wants Hydra to change. He doesn't want Hydra to do the horrible things they're doing. So yeah, that's it. I think I talked enough about everything, and I hope you guys stay with me and I hope you like the story, because this is a story I hope to tell in full. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to tell the story, but the trailer I made is just a little tease to what I kind of want to build here. And hopefully, Marvel, if you're listening, if you're watching, call me. So guys, thank you for staying with me. If you did stay with me until now, and hopefully you're going to enjoy the trailer. And this is the story. And if you guys have any ideas for the story, if you guys want to kind of give me some ideas about characters or whatever, feel free to go down in the comments below and kind of offer me some ideas for the story. Now, I cannot promise that I'm going to take every story out there, every idea out there, and kind of use that. But who knows? Maybe some of you guys are going to have like this amazing idea for the story, and I'm going to just grab it and add it to the story. And of course, I'm going to take your approval for that. So that's it, guys. I'm done telling the story, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully the story will eventually see the light of day. Till next time, this is Alex saying bye-bye.